It's outrageous and insane, them crazy prices in Port of Spain. And like the merchants going out their brain, and the working man like the only toiling in vain. Where you ever...
All right, everybody, so welcome back. So, of course, you know that the budget debate continues, all right? And over the weeks, we have really been trying to get various views from different organizations, stakeholder organizations, read the budget and what the finance minister would have announced. Well, we do have the president of the American Chamber here this morning, Mr. Stuart Franco. Mr. Franco, thank you very much for coming this morning.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And morning to all the viewers.
All right. So let's reflect a little bit on what the finance minister would have said just over a week ago during his budget presentation. Anything jumps out to you, business-wise?
Oh, yes. To be honest, a lot jumps out. I think the attempt to provide us with a budget in an environment where we've had sustained reduced revenues, it's not an easy thing. So I think they've had this difficulty over the last few budgets. One of the things we've seen is they've made a significant attempt not to introduce any new form of taxation from a revenue perspective, and to try to do the best that they can with existing measures that are already in place. Whether that may be via stronger enforcement of those measures or things like the tax amnesty to try and bring more payers into the net. Right? So a lot of attempts there. And then we have the diversification of some of the assets, which could lead to public-private partnership, which is something we've spoken very highly of and promoted forever. All right? We see public-private partnerships as a great way of making some of these services a little bit more efficient and boosting revenues for the government.
Yeah. You feel that they are heading in the right direction, read the non-energy sector, when it comes to diversification and when it comes to investing in businesses or attracting businesses that where we can generate the much needed foreign exchange?
So you've gone straight into the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's do it. Two things that are having a significant impact. For any business today. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. The first and one of the major problems would be Forex, and the second is crime. No one is worse than the other. They're both equally important right now. And both are having a significant negative impact on existing business and the desire for investment or additional businesses to be formed, created, boom. So we have a tough environment from both of those perspectives. Did I see things in the budget to try and help? Yes, I am seeing attempts there, but a lot of what we're seeing, we think, is stuff for the future, stuff that will have long-term effect. So we didn't see much that has a very short-term or quick turnaround. And yes, there are attempts for diversification, but I think more concerted effort towards diversification from the energy sector would be great. Not that we will ever be without the energy sector. The energy sector will always be a substantive portion of our revenues. But it would be good to see stronger efforts around bolstering that revenue with diversified revenue.
Yeah. And just a few days ago, we did have an interview with the Trade and Industry Minister. And she was also speaking about diversification too, and I was speaking about, that more needed to be done. But she also painted a picture of that business is alive and well, and that and even the TTMA even spoke about, well, they're seeing more investment in the non-energy sector and so on. But recently, there was a claim that because of the crime situation, that investors were quite hesitant to invest in Trinidad and Tobago because of that, because of the level of fear. I suspect they are concerned about the stability of their business in Trinidad and Tobago. Has your chamber gotten any sort of complaint, really, about that by persons wanting to invest in Trinidad and Tobago?
So I'll step back and answer a little piece of what you said before and then go
Yes.
into that, right? I think both sides have merit behind their statements, right? So yes, you are seeing some improvement in activity, you are seeing more requests, you are seeing more conversations, and it's starting to get to the point of seeing more activity. Do I think we are where we were pre-COVID, for example? No, I don't. I think we're working towards it and we're getting there. Do I think crime is having a significant impact on the desire to invest in Trinidad? Most certainly. Most certainly. And I do believe genuinely that the budget speaks to it. We are seeing in the budget, if you go through it in detail, that the government is saying that yes, crime is an issue and we are willing to take steps towards whether it be trying to secure the border, whether it's vessels, whether it's air. But attempts are being there to try and assist. We need to take control of the crime. A significant effort needs to be put into building back confidence in us as a people and removing fear. Those two things are still very strong, very strong. So yes, while we are seeing some improvement in the business, and business is starting to come to life, that is a fair statement, it would be a lot better or a lot more robust in its nature if we felt more comfortable, if there was less fear, and if there was more confidence to invest.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about ease of business, of doing business in Trinidad and Tobago, because I think that just my personal view, and yesterday I was having a discussion with the public administration minister, and I was saying to her that, you know, sometimes you have to do business and you have to go from one building that is in Port of Spain, you may have to go to Arima to conduct another part of the transaction. And she was speaking about one-stop shops, which I suspect is a good thing for members of the business community. But when it comes to doing business and the ease of business in Trinidad and Tobago, how has that been for your members?
Okay, so again, there's a very strong buzzword, ease of doing business. It's a destination, a journey, more a journey than a destination, because I think that post will forever be moving. If you had asked me this question a few years ago, I would have had a lot more difficulty answering it, because I don't think we were in a good place from an ease of doing business. But I do think over the last few years we have seen some improvement. We are seeing an improvement in the acceptance of non-cash transactions, which is a good thing. We are seeing the improvement in the adoption of technology. So technology was spoken of a lot in the budget, and has been in the last 2 or 3 budgets. So we are seeing the attempt by the utilities and government entities to be a little bit more, what word do I use?
Embracing,
technology savvy,
yes.
Embracing the technology and allowing, especially the youth of today, who are looking forward to the ability to interact with you, whether you're a government or a public or private institution. They want to seamlessly interact with you, whether that be in a physical or a virtual world. And I think the government is taking steps towards it. The formation of the digital transformation team, the introduction of the D-Hub, which has had huge interest from the public of Trinidad and Tobago. Some 1,000 developers have come in. I'm in tech and didn't realize we had that many developers available, right?
Yes.
So they are taking strides in this space. Are we where we need to be? No, sir. In my opinion, we still have a long road ahead. But what's positive is we're seeing the embracement of this change. It's no longer a conversation of we need to do it. It's now a conversation of we understand we need to do it. How are we going to do it and when are we going to do it? And we're going through those steps of implementation. So personally for me, what I want to see is that being implemented. We're talking about it for the last 3 years. Let's get to the point of it getting into production. Let's talk to us getting to the point where the citizenry can enjoy it. And in the budget, they spoke about e-passports, they spoke about e-ID, they spoke about e-immigration forms, all embracing tech and making life easier for us from an entry perspective, mobilization perspective, making payments perspective, etc. So yeah, it is there. It just needs to forgive me, but speed up a little bit.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about, I know I don't have too much time with you this morning, but just one last question. Let's talk about the steps that the government has made in the direction of oil and gas. And I know that we do have dwindling resources. I know that the finance minister would have spoken about a new regime as it relates to returns from oil and gas. And he, even in his budget presentation, he would have credited the Prime Minister and the Energy Minister of trying to turn things around, really, the economy and in oil and gas. How do you see these strides by the government, by the Energy Minister, by the Prime Minister?
On the surface, what's in front of us, they're great strides. We've been able to handle what is, everybody knows, a very delicate situation between the negotiations with the American government and the Venezuelan government. We've seen an embracement of the U.S. Embassy getting heavily involved and assisting through the process, which is fantastic and greatly appreciated. So a lot of strides have been made. The issue is, from the strides being made to us seeing revenue, it's a journey. It takes time. It does not happen overnight. So all of the groundwork that has been done, everything that has been completed, is not for today. It's for the future of Trinidad and Tobago. And it will kick in maybe in 2-3 years. But the real benefit of it we will see in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, as long as everything remains equal and what has been executed does come to pass, right? And there are factors that may come up, that may influence that. But that's not in our control, right? What's in our control, they've done a great job with, and they've put us in a place where that secures the future. So that's great. But then where's the conversation for between now and the start of that? What are we doing between today, 2024, and 2027, when we'll start to see that? What are the measures that we're putting in place to bolster that shortfall, to make up for that revenue? Yes, I also think there are things we can do to try to improve production levels. So yes, production is low, but I'm not sure it's due to lack of resource. I know that is part of it, but I think it's more to it than just a lack of resource. So we need to find a way to incentivize and get things going again, get production levels up, and I think that will help as well in the short term, taking us to that 2027 time.
Yeah. Anything else that you'd like to lay on the table before you leave us this morning,
Yeah, so
Mr.
one of the
Franco?
things in the budget that I think needs mentioning and should be spoken to is the assistance programs for the at-risk. That is something that AMCHAM has been promoting for a very long time, something that's very dear to us. We've put a lot of efforts behind that, and it's really good to see a lot of these measures being put in place. And again, that comes down to public-private partnership, right? It's a reach out to the private sector to get involved, to assist where they can with those programs that assist the youth that are at risk. And again, it's a long-term measure, right? It's not something that's going to have a short-term impact. But 5 years, 6 years, 7 years down the road, we will see significant impact. So I guess what I'm asking on behalf of AMCHAM is a cry to members and non-members to get involved, step up, see where you can assist. And a lot of organizations, I must say, I'm saying that like if nobody does, a tremendous amount of organizations are doing a tremendous amount that a lot of people don't know about. But the more the merrier. The more we can do and the more we can support those programs, it will have a positive impact in the future.
Yeah, Stuart Franco, President of AMCHAM. Sir, thank you very much for coming this morning. We do appreciate it. Thank you very much
for having
perspective.
Yeah? God bless.
All right. So we are going to a very short break, everybody. When we come back, we are taking your calls, right? So you're calling us on 623-1711. The extension, it's 1995. We're coming back, everybody.
It's sad and getting more bad because due to capitalism